afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene is set at the home of the, I call him infamous, but at the home of the reputable, respected, slightly underhanded Baron Phobos, the lord, or rather the self-proclaimed Baron of the Dublin's Anarch Free State. The manor house itself sits high on a bluff overlooking the sea. Beneath it, the waves crash haphazardly against the sheer face of black rock. Those of you who've been invited as the Baron's honoured guests will be led to the house from where the cars are being parked via well-dressed valets who don't say very much and who are more than happy to conduct you inside. As you are brought inside, you'll be led to the left-hand side away from a pair of grand sweeping double staircases that lead up. After all, if nothing else, the Baron is, after all, a Toreador. The ballroom that you see before you is crowded with people who you would never assume to see in a ballroom. You see a number of individuals dressed in biker attire who have various different gang symbols tattooed all over their bodies. You see a number of You see a number of varying odd ethnic minorities who are currently clamoring for, well, mostly you'd assume, the free food and booze. There seems to be a motley collection of both kindred and unembraced here. However, there is most definitely an electric atmosphere, an atmosphere that seems to tingle in the air like the aftershock of a great burst of lightning. And you may do your introductions.
Well, Miss Stevenson she's just standing with a glass of blood. Well, she's actually just holding like a kind of a container you would find in a gym or like a protein shake. It's a big one, but she's standing with that, and she's just standing. She's wearing fairly normal clothing. She's done up a bit. So she's actually done quite a bit to look presentable today. And but she is standing by herself, just observing and looking, well, like her, sticking out.
Okay, Spudgun.
Mr. Spudgun. Sorry, Peter, you referring to them as Mrs. Stevenson, just, Anyway, Spudgun, well, if there's anyone that never deserved to get into a ball dressed as the way they are, it probably would be Spudgun. He just simply walks into the place. I mean, he was told this place is kind of an open forum, as it were. Rather, in his mind, he is probably dressed business casual, but we all know the old World of Darkness stereotype of the long leather trench coat or long leather duster for folk on the other side of the Atlantic. Yes, he looks. I mean, he's probably a little bit more well groomed than Emily would typically see him. But he just simply walks into the place, just checking out the decorum, as it were. It's kind of a posh gig around here, who would assume, with his hands in his pockets. Just probably keep his eye on the what he presumes are retainers or vessels, who knows, that this Baron keeps around. Probably just probably stand on one side of the room and just look over to Emily, just smile, give her a polite nod. Probably might make her uncomfortable, who knows?
Oh, no, she just nods back and smiles, actually. And, yeah, She might stick out, but she actually looks a bit more relaxed here than, well, lots of other places.
Alright. Walking in with being led by the retainers is a rather skinny, fairly tall, probably about 6 foot even, brown-haired man wearing glasses and fairly nondescript features. A long white lab coat that has all sorts of different sheddings clinging to it. It's hard to tell. You could think that some of it could be ferret, some of it could be dog, some of it could be gorilla, some of it could be primate, other primate. Some of it could be actually bat or opossum or anything like that. Will walk in carrying a briefcase in one hand and twirling a pen in the other hand. He will push his glasses up with the edge of his pen, look over to Emily and say, "Oh, hello there. I didn't think you were interested in science."
What?
He said, "I didn't think you were interested in science."
Well, I mean, I did do some study back in this. Why would I be interested in science and come here?
Because this is a symposium on vampires in the modern world.
Emily
Unless
just
he's-
looks at him and
Yeah.
just takes a quick look over the gathered crowd. And just
Yeah, Emily.
looks back
this-
at him
this
and
is-
just like, I don't think symposiums are. Oh yeah, I'm all about that science. Yeah.
He will just tilt his head to the side, adjust his glasses, and say, "Well, I can't help but think that this has some sort of anthropological significance. I mean, after all, is this not a continued study of a species that has existed since the dawn of time?"
Are you sure you're not like you're not, Malkavian?
He's going to look around quickly and then drop his mask. "Does this look Malkavian to you?" And it's
No,
Nosferatu.
but
It's Dr. Michael.
Yeah, yeah, that's the weird thing, but never mind. Yeah.
Doors at the other end of the ballroom will swing open, and this individual will enter, flanked on one side by a woman. Actually, Spudgun and Emily. Yes. Emily, you may recognize the figure. This is the figure. Who's walking with him? I can't remember.
Interesting.
Do either of you actively know who this person is from the first season, or should I prompt to give reminders?
Prompt
I
me.
am
I
quite
have seen
certain
the
that-
picture before, but I don't recall the name.
I'm quite certain that this is Emily, maybe not Emily's sire, but partly due to her eccentric embrace, shall we say?
Her being your sire is not entirely impossible. She never claimed you as hers. And after all of this time, any blood bond that would have existed between you two would have been broken because of lack of contact. But
Yeah.
It could be her. She is again. You remember she was abducted, or no? She was Adductus, who then became one of the paladins. And she is definitely a gangrel.
Yeah.
She is walking with the Baron. He will stand up and he will take He takes his position behind a podium, and he will say, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you would mind, please, giving me undivided attention for a few moments before we begin this evening's matters and topics of esoteric discussion." The room quiets. I assume, do you guys shut up or do you keep talking?
Oh, definitely. Shutting up, paying attention. Have my notebook out. My pen is at the ready.
I have considered what it is to exist beneath the concept of a curse for a very long time. Some of you, the more theologically minded, may have heard the story that is preached. The concept of Cain, who murdered Abel and in exchange was smote by the Almighty, and that from their blood is whence we come. This is the dogma that's preached by those individuals whom claim to hold the sword of Cain, to be his righteous executioners of the world. However, those others whom stand as the ivory tower offer you merely the concept of slavery based upon their chronological superiority. Worship at the feet of thine elder is what they teach. However, I should say, honored friends, that in this, the 21st century, it is we, us, whom have the decided advantage against the concept of these elders. These individuals who claim because of their age they have power. Yes, I have no doubt that they have many parlor tricks, many disciplines of the blood, he will say with air quotes. However, is technology not the great equalizer? Is it now that we, the young, who understand the modern world in which we stand, is it not our time? Do we not have the advantage? After all, I can guarantee you the likes of, say, Prince Mithras of London would not know the CPU from LOL. If I was to teach him, it would probably take me far too long for him to even find the on button. There's a kind of a general kind of No. My friends, the world is changing. The world is changing because humanity, that great seat of the endeavors and dreams, pushes it forward. Humanity are not simple cattle. Humanity are not simply broken toys for our amusement. Humanity are the driving force of innovation creation, the ability to realize the dreams of tomorrow. And so, as we stand, not necessarily in humanity's shadow, but stand with the benefice of humanity, so it is that the elders should come to quake in fear because we are now in the ascendant. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you enjoy your evening. There'll be a general kind of yay, clap, 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 clap. The Brujah grunt at one another, as the Brujah are wont to do.
Emily is just going to look at the woman. She is fixed on her and see what she does afterwards.
She follows Baron around. So he is currently talking to a large group of the bikers. He walks up to them, and you see they're the largest among them. He's a huge bald man whose neck and the back of his head is covered in tattoos that appear to resemble scorpions and spiders. He shakes his hand, and they appear to be talking to one another. The woman is standing behind him with her hands clasped behind her back.
Are there any members of Clan Nosferatu in attendance?
If there are, they're using mask, and you can't really see directly if there are. There may be.
Okay. I'm going to duck behind a corner and put my mask back up since I took it down since my Nosferatu hood was questioned.
Is that like getting your getting your dick questioned or penis size questioned?
No, basically Emily just called him a Malkavian. And he's like, "Boom, does this look like a Malkavian to you?" His New Yorker, his Bronx came out.
Can I just say that a Nosferatu going to put their mask on is a lot. I mean, I'm not going to say one way or the other, but you know that old stereotype of a woman going to the bathroom to powder her nose?
Yes.
I get this horrible comparison going on there for some bizarre reason.
Oh, It's just that he has to be out of sight, or else it's a bitch to put his mask back up.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
he
know
needs
how
to go to the little boy's room to put his face back on.
Yes, the little vamp's room. All of a sudden, I want Spudgun to have a Nosferatu girlfriend now, just so that they can get those moments.
Oh God, that would.
I'm sure we could introduce him. I'm sure there's got to be one Cleopatra.
No. Only Obi can play a hot Nosferatu.
I fucking need to get Obi back playing. I miss Obi.
Yeah, same here, but he's busy with real life at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so continuing on. So yes, that is what is happening. The people are milling about the room.
Besides the one person that's besides the Baron's side, does Spudgun notice anyone? Well, besides Emily, that you recognises from before? Also, I forgot to ask, who is this person's name? I know the character like face, the rep, but I'm struggling to remember the name.
The character's name?
Yeah.
It depends. Did you meet her when she was still a Ductus, or did you not?
Yeah, I think they did.
Oh, in that case, her name was Angelina.
Fucking knew it. Right. Yeah, Spudgun, for his part, he's probably going to. That better not be his future ex-girlfriend. He's probably just going to stay on the sidelines and just kind of observe how everyone's reacting, and probably mainly just you'll kind of observe how Emily's reacting to all these interactions. But he won't speak unless he's spoken to. But he'll remain cordial.
There's a tugging on Michael's sleeve. Tug tug.
Michael, look down.
I don't like it here.
Do I recognize him?
Yeah, his name is Shifts. Shifts.
What's going on, Shifts? Why are you here?
I was told to look over the new computer system the Baron installed, but I don't particularly like it here. It's odd. It's very bright.
Yeah, you've been in Torridor Havens before, haven't you?
Yeah, but generally speaking, it's shifts do the thing and then shifts go home. They've never invited me to tea before.
Well, I mean, you don't need to stay if you don't want to.
But would that be rude? Can I go home?
If the Baron asks, I'll make an excuse for you.
Oh, thanks, Doc.
No problem. Hey, did you get finished?
Yeah, I finished.
Okay. I'll let the Baron know that you were called away for on-clan business.
Okay. He will kind of put his hoodie up over his. He'll put the hood of his hoodie up and kind of skitter out the door as quickly as he can. Like no.
He'll just chuckle. Did anybody watching me?
Not really. You were going to sit over in the corner with Emily.
Right. I was just going to be like, not all of my clan are as socially adept as I am.
You see the Baron and Angelina exchange a few words before she kind of nods her head, and she goes to leave via the doorway. She goes to leave via the doorway about 20 feet from y'all, which leads deeper into the house.
Okay.
Emily just takes a big swig of her glass and will walk over to her.
All right. You catch her. Is Michael going to follow, or is he going to stay put?
Michael's going to watch them, and if anybody's paying attention to him, he's going to head off in that direction, but a comfortable distance away.
Okay. Yeah, you intercept her just as she's about to leave through the doors, Emily.
Good evening.
Yeah. What can I do for you?
You don't remember me, do you?
Should I?
Yeah, never mind. And she just, like, Emily just stares at her, and it would only be her able to see it, as she just looks, and she actually, like, daggers at her for, like, a
You
couple of
you
seconds.
get the distinct impression like there's no recollection in the eyes. She's not lying to you. It's like, who are you? I don't know you kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that does it, and Emily just, like, never mind. And she just turns around, goes into the room again.
okay. Michael, you will see Emily walk past. She is very. I'm going to assume that. Are you attempting to hide how upset you are?
Yeah, let's try. My 2 dice.
Okay. Roll me manipulation subterfuge.
It's just gonna botch. I know it because I have like two
I
dice.
mean, I have 6 dice to find out how you're feeling. So
I actually have 3 dice. Wow.
Julio.
Not in the desert. Just roll.
Ironically, we have somebody roll on the desert this evening.
Oh god. Well, rolls. Roll them bones. And she fails. She's really upset.
Michael, would you like to roll that with me? Because in theory, you can also fail.
alrighty. Let's see if my 6 dice will botch. Come on. 6 D10. 6 F1. Holy crap! I did fail. I didn't
No one
botch, so I
sees
failed.
anything. Yoo-hoo!
Everyone is completely oblivious to fuck.
All right, so you also make this roll because you did point out you were paying attention. Perception, empathy.
No. My evil twin came in all of a sudden.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Emily just goes over and just we'll find she'll just take her drinking jug and just toss it in the garbage. She just stands and just takes a few moments to just collect herself.
And the doctor completely ignores her and heads towards the door. Is the redheaded woman still there? Evan?
What? Sorry, what?
I said, so because I failed, I'm basically ignoring Emily and walking past her and going to see if the redheaded woman is still there.
She's walking down a corridor.
Okay. I will.
Sorry, did Spoken roll his peony?
Yeah, it did, and he failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone
Everyone's
failed
listening.
everything.
Yeah, hence why I said everyone is completely oblivious to how upset Emily is.
All right, in that case, you know what, Michael? You should totally just go hang out with Emily some more. She's not hurting at all. Go and be cheerful at her.
Well, he wants to talk with the redhead, so
Oh, do you? Okay. Are you going to
Yeah,
follow
he
her
said-
down the corridor?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and follow her. I'll basically raise my hand and say, "Pardon me."
Yes. What can I do for you?
Are you part of the Baron's retinue?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I was wondering if you might know when the actual dissertations are supposed to start.
Shortly.
Oh, thank you. My name is Dr. Michael Brightman, by the way. I don't believe I've seen you in the court.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't. She'll extend her hand. Angelina DeMarque. Nice to meet you. For the record, she also speaks with a very distinct New York accent.
Okay. You'll respond, shaking kind, and say, Is that a bit of Brooklyn I hear in your voice?
I'm from the Bronx, but it's anything's possible.
Oh, I'm from the Bronx too, but from a long time ago. Suppose our neighborhoods never really met up at any point.
Is that all? I kind of got to go and collect something.
Oh, yes, of course. If the Baron asks, Shifts had to leave. Clan matter, you understand.
Did he get his work done?
Yeah, he said it's all done. You're all good to go.
Cool. Thank you, Dr.
Brightman, Michael Brightman.
Cool. I'll remember that.
He'll nod his head.
Doc. I'm not going to lie. I saw you a little while ago. Who was that girl you were talking to?
Oh, Emily Stevenson. She's claiming to be Gangrel, but she doesn't really know a whole lot.
Cool. All right.
According to if you know any Gangrels and they need representation with the Ivory Tower, woo, my friend David is petitioning to become Primogen to give the Gangrel a voice.
Well, I am a gangrel, so anything's possible.
Well, do you need his information? I can give you his number.
I'm not really up for the whole kind of kowtowing to the Ivory Tower, but thanks for the ask.
Oh, neither am I. It's just that sometimes people need a voice, and that's what I'm trying to do for my clan.
I can understand that. All right. Well, look, I really got to go and get this, so I will talk to you later.
Not a problem. I hope you don't miss anything too exciting. And he's going to turn and head back into the room.
Okay. What do you guys do then?
He's just going to... Oh, sorry.
All right.
You go ahead, Jason.
Spudgun for his part. I seem to be on a bit of a lag. Let me see if I can...
No, you're fine.
Right, let me close some things. I hope that fixes it. Spudgun for his part, he's probably just going to start going... he's going to try and get a feel for the room, just find out who's who, as it were. But he does have the intention of perhaps going to speak with Angela if at some point it would be a possibility.
Cool. She's not currently in the room, obviously. She's left.
All right.
There
Emily.
is one...
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, she will just come up to Spudgun and she will just say, "Can you believe it?
Believe what, lass?
That she is, like, here now as well. Like, I suppose it's better than her being gone, but still."
You want to provide a little bit more clarity for their lass?
She was, she was part of the... She just...
Yes. And?
Well, never mind.
No, spit it out, lass.
I'm quite... No, it's just, like, she was pretty high up in the system, and, it was, like... I mean, I would have thought that people would, beat in on people like that, and not, like... Well, I mean, people like us, they would probably, yeah, she fails. She's definitely trying to hide something. You can roll manipulation or perception empathy to see if you can spot that. It's very, very easy.
It's going to be interesting if I fail or what. Bare minimum, but yeah, he gets the inkling.
If she's in line of sight, I'm rolling too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say it, guys. You have one job.
Ooh, 3 successes and 2 of them were 10s.
Yeah, she's obviously conflicted, and well, it's really unclear what she's talking about. And given the way she talks, it's not always clear, but there's definitely something that's frustrating her that she's not saying.
Spudgun, because he's probably because he's obviously the closest to her and the one that is actually speaking directly to Emily, he just simply nods his head. Whatever it is that's bothering you, lass, it's probably not as important as you think it is.
I'm very tempted to have Emily roll a frenzy check. Yeah, Emily, roll me that frenzy check.
God damn it. Okay.
Damn it, and I'm not in range either.
You can spend a willpower, of course, because you are not a gang. You are not a Bruja.
Just gonna see self-control because that is not something I.
You know, it's just literally. It's not as important as you think. It's my fucking vampire mom.
If you're under 3, I would not risk it.
I am spending a willpower.
Okay. You will wrestle control of the beast, but
Whoa! I got
Spudgun,
2 successes. So
Spudgun, you will see that feral glint in the eye as you say that. Holy crap! You struck a deep ass nerve.
there will come like a, as she just her head's just lock into and just stares at you and just says, "Right, I'll just fucking forget about it then."
Spudgun leans in. I was in the same position as you once. So don't think...
Somehow I doubt that, but fine, fine.
Really?
I'll just fucking go to the bathroom or something. And Emily just storms off.
Evan, what's the Gaelic word for... what's the Gaelic word for the expression which Jeremy Corbyn used to describe Theresa May this week?
I don't know how do you describe Theresa May?
Stupid woman.
Oh, wow. That's
Well, he didn't actually say it like verbatim. He just kind of mouthed it like, like a 4-year-old.
I mean, I don't want your...
It was funny. I will give him that. It was
I don't know. I don't speak Irish, dude. I speak very little of it.
Right, fair enough.
It's not actually a big thing over here.
Shame. Anyway, yeah, Spudgun will just as Emily walks off, Spudgun will just mutter something to his breath in Gaelic, and he'll probably go and see if he can't find that Angela. I say woman.
Ironically, just so I can make things a whole lot worse, as Emily bursts out into the corridor, you will see Angela walking back with a briefcase in her hand and Spudgun right on her heels.
Emily just... I'm actually not sure what she's going to do. Yeah, she's probably just going to, she's clearly gritting her teeth and just, her fists are tightening. She's, she just walks past and just slams the door for some room, probably a bathroom or something.
You actually end up in a library.
Oh.
It's a kind of a library / study. But you slam the door. She kind of looks back towards Emily, shrugs, and she just keeps walking until she hits a Spudgun.
Imagine Spudgun. Well, how tall is Emily?
6'2", I think.
Sorry, not Emily. I'm Angela. Sorry.
Oh, Angela's about 5'9".
No, she's not all that much shorter than Spudgun. Yeah, he'll just stand upright, kind of look towards her with a slight smile. Evening, madam. Or are we being a bit more formal tonight?
I always thought this place was somewhere where there was a distinct lack of formalities.
Oh, well then. Angela, wasn't it?
Yep. And you're the one who toe-poured some fuckwit with a spud. I remember that.
Hence my name, madam.
Got a question. What's eating Blondie from the inside out?
Well, I don't recall if they ever ate anyone, so I'm guessing maybe it was something that I said. Or, actually, weren't you speaking with them earlier on?
They asked if I knew them. Unfortunately, the face doesn't ring a bell.
Then I wouldn't know.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some sort of what do they call it? Unrequited love going on here, or maybe there's some sort of I don't know. Maybe they think you're the one that gave them their own life. Who knows? They weren't really forthcoming. I just told them it's probably not as important as they think it is. I mean, I wouldn't know one way or the other.
Well, so what are you doing here in that case, Spudgun?
Well, I heard that there was a certain fine gentleman here who was inclined to be a little bit more kinder to our kind of what do they call them in this particular circles?
Political dissidents?
You could say that, yeah. Political dissidents. Then, say someone in a position a lot more closer to heaven, as it were, or closer to
Look.
the skies, whichever you want to describe it.
Look, I was beaten unconscious and I was embraced in 1962 in Mexico City when I was working for the Politburo down there. I really don't want to have politics, but unfortunately, you gotta have politics. You might as well choose a winning side, right?
As for me, I was embraced somewhere, I think, outside of Kilishandra. I don't even remember the guy's name, if it even was a guy. For all I know, and for everything that I've seen, they could have been some sort of strange amalgamation. I mean, we've both seen what some of those shapers can do.
Anyway, do you need me for something in particular? Because I have to get this briefcase to the Baron.
Aye. I was wondering if you could persuade the fine gentleman to have a brief 5-minute conversation with me. It won't take all that long, I promise.
Sure. I tell you what. She points back at the door through which Emily has slammed. The Baron's due to take a meeting in there in about 10 minutes' time with an honored guest. So if you want to wait in there, I'm sure he can spare you a few minutes before he has his meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much, Angela.
Don't worry about it. Hey, for the record, she'll say she actually catches your shoulder as she walks past you. You can tell that there's a good deal of strength there, but she's not hurting you. But you can just like the grip is very vice-like. And she says, "For the record, what we were is dead. I just want that to be said between us, and you know, going forward and all that. Yeah."
If you say so.
Cool. All right, if you'll excuse me. She walks back into the main room.
Jason's inner inquisitor is searching for his book on heresies.
Why? What could possibly be heretical?
Everything. Anyway, yes. Spudgun will then head over to that particular doorway that Angela pointed him to.
Cool. What's Emily doing in the office? Because this was just the quickest room to escape into.
Yeah, actually, she's probably stood there for like 30 seconds, just letting out, just calming herself. And then she's actually begun to look at if there is any, books on something that is not found in a normal library.
Okay. Make me a perception occult roll.
I mean, okay. I'm not just like
The way you
the
phrased
idea
that was
of
amazing.
Emily having a cult is just, I don't know, funny.
Does she not possess a cult as a skill?
No.
Then there's a whole bunch of weird books in here.
I can make a perception roll.
You can't roll a knowledge skill on trained.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but she will actually just sift through books and just read, actually.
There's a whole bunch of them in really weird languages. A lot of them are quite old as well, but the room itself has a kind of a definite hint of age. Think about like a Toreador who has a very fine taste for historical artifacts and objets d'art, what their office would look like, basically. So there are even a number of like trophies on the wall, like you see a lion's head, you see a stuffed elephant's head, all those kind of hunting trophies. But they're very old. You're not sure if they hunted in, if they were hunted by him or if they were just came with the house. But Spudgun will enter.
Yeah, this she won't notice you to begin with. She's actually just reading. It seems to. Oh, it's almost as if you didn't know better, you would say that she's actually more comfortable and enjoying this than she is out there.
Brett, for you, sorry, just before we continue on, Brett, the large double doors through which you guys entered open again, and a figure enters the room. As he does so, it feels as though the room's temperature drops by about significantly, by about 7 or 8 degrees. So you will definitely feel it, and lights dim ever so slightly as this figure enters the room.
Haven't I felt something similar to this before?
Have you?
Mariposa.
Not the same.
Okay.
He enters the room. He's flanked on either side by men who are wearing very kind of light combat gear, who have a number of sheathed knives on their persons, and they enter the room. You'll see the Baron walk up and bow respectfully to the figure before the two begin to converse. At which point you will see him turn ever so slightly. He will look at Michael with eyes that are indeed as red as they appear. You can't see any of his skin. That little speck there between his eyes is actually a mask that runs underneath the fold. But his eyes are gleaming just pools of crimson.
Is it similar to how the Baron's mask is?
No, it looks to be made of gold. And it's
No, I
covered
mean
in blood.
the eyes. Do they look like they're digital representations?
They don't. They just look like pools of red.
Okay.
He will look over towards you. He will beckon you forward with a hand.
Michael will raise an eyebrow and will walk over.
He looks you up and down and he says, "Oh, yes, I know your face. Dr. Brightman." Yeah.
He will nod his head. Are you familiar with my work?
In a manner of speaking. He extends his hand.
Michael will take it and will shake it so as not to be rude, but also not to assume any form of dominance.
I am simply called the Obsidian Lantern. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Mr. Obsidian Lantern. I'm afraid any rumors I may have heard of you have been shrouded. I'm sure
Would you like
that's
to maybe an intelligence kindred lore check?
Where's my kindred lore? Is 2 intel 3, so 5. I'm spending to raise that next downtime. Difficulty?
Standard. You can also spend willpower if you'd like.
I will spend willpower.
Cool.
4 successes.
Cool. The Obsidian Lantern is actually a pretty famous name. He's a member of Clan Asimite, but you're not actually sure if the Obsidian Lantern is a name or if it's a title, in the sense you're not sure if there have been one or many of him over the reasonably. If there have been many of him, he's incredibly old. If there have been one of him, he's incredibly old. But if there have been more than one and they've taken on the mantle, then you couldn't possibly tell. He's famous for he perceives events and he then advises the clan as a general whole. So according to Clan Asimite superstition and dogma, it's up to your character whether you believe it or not, he can foretell the future.
He will stop himself as he's saying what he didn't say. The Obsidian Lantern. Even amongst the judges, you are famous. Your name has been spread throughout history. There is much speculation as to whether or not you are one or many, as fits the legends of Hassam and the Ebon Hand from the Tales of Scheherazade. But
I am what I am, but it is always interesting when one knows a face to place a name to it. As I've said, I found you're a man who studies how people are and the way in which they are. Yes.
it is one of many things that I study. It's actually my current focus for my next doctorate.
I see. Why, if I may ask?
Well, because of all species, ours and the children of humanity are the only ones that have a written story. Now, whether or not the written story is accurate or not is entirely subjective to the people, to the place, to the time. But it continues. And there is a certain immortality to that as well. The truth is that my sire embraced me as an experiment to determine what would happen if somebody who surrounded himself with life and happiness would suddenly have all that taken away. And I've never really understood why, but I know that he felt that it was a failure. Mostly because I was able to keep my connection to the animals that I loved and continued my own studies of my own. But I feel like if I can best understand anthropology, I might be able to understand why he felt that experiment was necessary.
I quite understand your perspective. So what you're saying is, rather than the deprivation of love, the love being taken, you found solace in the love that you still possessed and could possess.
That would be accurate, yes.
Oh, I understand. Interesting. Very interesting. He puts his hand on your forehead and he says, and so it is the Beastmaster reveals itself. Charming.
What was the last thing he said?
And so it is the Beastmaster reveals himself. How interesting. He will say, I will be staying in this city for some time. I would be delighted if you would come and take tea with me on an afternoon. Or evening, rather. He'll say evening.
He'll pull out a business card and he will start to offer it to him and then realize that that's actually rude according to his own culture. And will look to one of the man's attendants and say, which one of you should I present this to?
There are two. There's one woman and one man. The woman steps forward and she says, I am the hands of the master. You may present it to me.
He will bow his head and he will hand her the business card before turning back to the Obsidian Lantern. I can be reached at any time. That has my cell phone as well as my direct line to my office at the zoo.
One important fact I will say. So currently the Assamites are split. There is the branch that are essentially kind of seeking. They're not fully in the Camarilla, but they are desperately trying to avoid the other section of the Assamites who are trying to brutally murder them.
Mm-hmm.
This is after the resurrection of Air-Shulgi. After Air-Shulgi breaks the blood curse, etc. So this guy is very much in the, because you rolled enough successes to know, he is very much in the Shulgi praise Hakim camp.
Okay. So he's actually the ones going after the Camarilla people.
Going after the Camarilla Assamites, yes.
Okay.
But he will bow his head very slightly before the three of them will make their way towards the indicated space for the office. About 5 minutes or so earlier, the Baron will stride into his office, which is currently occupied, as he did indeed promise. Or rather, Angelina said that he would give 5 minutes to Spudgun before he had to take his meeting.
Okay.
So, Spudgun?
Spudgun will regard the Baron with a smile and give a slight courteous bow. Obviously, it's not something that this is. He was told this is not a very formal occasion, but he just does it anyway.
The Baron inclines his head before he takes his seat, and he will look at Emily and he will say, "Are you joining us, Miss Stevenson?"
What? I didn't touch it, Amy. No, I'm good.
I see you have Herbrecht's Pronomicon, a very interesting read. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I was just, I just needed to clear my head, and I was just reading something. But yeah, it actually is. I haven't gotten far yet, but.
Oh, feel free to borrow it. Return it when it is you're done.
Really?
By all means.
Oh, thanks, boss. Thanks.
Now then, Mr. Spudgun, or would you prefer I call you by some other frame of the vernacular?
Spudgun is fine. By the way, Evan, the roll that I did in the Discord, it was it was either intelligence, occult, or perception. It's the same dice pool for me. He got 2 10s.
The Baron has a lot of interesting books. However, a lot of them are not necessarily valuable occult texts. There are one or two, like the Phrenomicon, which good old Emily happens to stumble across that could be pretty valuable. The books here are more rare and valuable than they are necessarily worth anything from an occult perspective, but they look good on shelves.
Right, so stuff like the Malleus Maleficarum and what have you. Basically, they're just probably expensive copies that have leather bindings and everything, so they look more impressive than they actually are.
Essentially, yes.
All right, okay. Yeah, Spudgun is fine. I used to have a friend, call me Spuddy, but I don't think someone of your prestige would really unless we become friends, I don't think that someone of your prestige would really look particularly dignified calling someone Spuddy. Well, maybe outside of anywhere posh like this, mind you.
So, what is it that I may do for you, Spudgun?
Well, considering that the circumstances that have befallen the city of Dublin, and considering how many of your refugees here are indebted to you, I suppose it would be beneath my dignity for someone of your station and someone of your influence to not at least offer some means in the way of thanks.
Mr. Spudgun, or rather Spudgun, allow me to correct you there. I am not more highly stationed than you. I am simply the voice of a movement. I have no great issue or no great wish to be considered higher than any. That is the entire point of the movement.
Mm-hmm. But still, I feel inclined to at least give some measure of respect to people that have earned it. And suppose this is a kind of movement that at least I can... Whilst I'm still not entirely certain about all of the particular details, I can at least find some degree to agree with.
I can understand this perspective. So, how is it you would like to move forward in that case, Mr. Spudgun?
Well, I don't imagine that you don't strike me as being someone who would require a great deal of muscle, or at least at the moment. But I'm a very talented electrician from my life before. And with all this talk about technology, sometimes, even when you have all of the highest level computer technology and security systems and all that, sometimes you need someone to make sure that there's a steady flow of electricity coming your way.
Indeed.
Just thought that I would offer that potential service to you if it is required, and you don't want to have to contract, so to speak, the kind to do it for you.
And as for your assessment, Mr. Spudgun, that I don't need muscle, that is not inherently correct. There is always, and I do mean always, there is always a battle that will inherently need to be fought. But currently, you're right.
I'm going with my bare hands and anything that isn't nailed down. And if you got any things that go bang, I'm good with them and all. So, I believe Miss Stevenson here told me that you were searching for something.
Oh. Am I Miss Stevenson?
What are you talking about?
See, it was a thing that we talked about in the scene that we did a couple of days ago with Marcus. I might be misremembering certain things.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the sheriff. It was the sheriff looking for people. Or
all right. Evan, is it all right we can retcon that?
Yeah.
All right. Right, okay, so yes, Spudgun and like just kind of go. Also, because I want to get Peter into this stuff again. Also, Miss Stevenson told me that the sheriff is looking for people. Does that include any of your lot?
That would mean that we would have to recognize the sheriff and his authority over us, which I can assure you we most assuredly do not do.
I know. But someone in that position means that they'll be looking for certain people, and if those certain people happen to be friends of ours, that means we're going to have some objections to them deciding to snatch them up and take them to some. Well, I don't know what exactly they would take them to. For all I know, they could take them out to dinner. But somehow I don't think that the Camarilla is really in the habit of wining and dining people that they find undesirable.
You're indeed correct, Master Spudgun, he will say. Once again, we shall see how it is when we move forward, but in our own domain, the barony itself, we will have our own law enforcement that will be seen to via other individuals, as yet to be named. We wish no truck with the Camarilla. After all, if we wish to bow and bended knee to elders who sit in their thrones of power based solely upon their age and lack of common sense, well then, they know where the line is drawn.
Just a thing, Baron or Mr. or Baron or Phobos. Never mind. I would just like to say that I am really, really grateful, as with Spudgun is, for what you've done for, well, us. But like I kind of went and talked to some of those people. It's because my my place of business, or it's kind of outside our territory, so I needed like the Camarilla to reckon. Well, I'm still not entirely certain how this works, but they've given me like an adopted sire or something. I don't know what
the kind of is totally in character.
Yeah. She actually looks as though she has no idea what that means. What exactly does that mean?
That
like
means
they
the
said
person
something
who-
about me not knowing the rules or something. I didn't know what to say or do, so
you were about to answer, Jason, so feel free to answer.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were going to speak first, but anyway, yes, Spudgun just simply pipes up. Sire basically means the person, individual, who made you what you are. Like your da or your ma. But,
yeah, or a person who doesn't fucking recognize. Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Spudgun then nods his head slowly to himself. No, I see what that's about.
Yeah.
Context, please.
Don't. It's fine. It's really not a problem. It's nothing. No problem. It's just a personal thing. It's really not worth mentioning, right, Spudgun? She just looks at him.
Well, you thought it was quite important.
No, I
earlier on.
No. It is obvious to everyone here that she is desperately trying to avoid something.
It's like I said earlier on, lass. Besides, why would you allow someone or the one that made you to define who you are?
I still want to talk to her. I still want to.
Would you two like some privacy?
No,
I'm really sorry about this. Like, I didn't mean to. Look, I'm really grateful to borrow the book. I'll take good care of it. I'll return it. I'll leave you to talk. But the thing with the sheriff, just as a matter of practical thing, he is looking for, I think, for like henchmen or like deputies. I don't know. To do stuff, and they're under attack, and well, we are under attack, and yeah, needed more bodies or hands or something. But I'm assuming you both heard about the Archon, right?
Yes, I was indeed informed. Most distressing. As I said, I have no respect for elders who simply sit upon their thrones of absolute power based entirely upon age, but I also do not necessarily want them to all be burned to a crisp.
Well, she made it out. I was there, so. But yeah, I got shot a little. I mean, it's the first time I've been shot through the head. It was kind of weird, but I mean, hey, it was, yeah, strange, but oh well.
Everyone's been shot through the head at least once or twice in their own life, I think.
Yeah, it's
An
still
unlife without danger is an unlife not spent.
right. It's just it took me a while to get used to. It's fine. Look, I've already taken enough of your time. I will be going. Thank you. She takes the book and just gets out.
All right. It's a pleasure to speak to you, Spudgun. If you'd care to come here tomorrow evening when I'm not so occupied, we can discuss more particulars.
Of course. You have a
Um,
really lovely library and all.
Oh, thank you. Emily, as you open the door, this entity, the black-robed, red-eyed creature is just staring down at you.
I'm sorry, and she just steps to the side and just kind of extends her hands for him to enter.
Thank you, my child. He will step inside. Ah, so lovely to see you. Yes, the journey was long, so you will forgive me if and my lack of formalities, but I will be accepting the payment now. Yes, yes, of course. Spudgun, you will see the Baron open the briefcase that he has in his hands. At which point you will see him remove a little vial, roughly about the size of your roughly about the size of your pinky finger, that is covered in a series of odd glyphs and patterns, and inside of which there is a tiny, and I mean about the size of your fingernail, sized ampule of blood.
Suspicion is rising. Though I'm surprised that he's doing it right in front of Spudgun more than anything else.
It's more so because Spudgun is leaving. I'm just letting you see it as you leave.
All right, okay, yeah, sure.
The masked figure will nod. He will replace the Baron will replace the vial in the briefcase before closing it and sliding it across the desk. At which point the door will close behind you.
So, you gonna stick around for the whole symposium? I mean,
yeah, I think I probably will. I mean, it's
Really?
probably going to be boring as all fuck, but who knows? We might learn something, you and I.
I mean, sure. I mean, I just figured you would. Okay.
I mean, all this like highbrow nonsense, most of it goes over my head. I mean, I don't know if you were looking at any of those books in there, but there was this one on gay stuff there that I didn't really like. I mean, you saw the title of it. I mean, Ecce Homo. I mean, who creates a book with a name like that?
She actually laughs. It's Latin.
What, gay Latins? I thought it was,
No.
wasn't it them that invented gayness?
Okay, no. Hang on. Okay, there is a line, dude. You just crossed it. Don't, please.
All right,
stop.
sorry, man. I thought I was trying to throw in a Father Ted reference.
I know, I get it, but there is still a line in the sand. Please don't cross it.
Just
All right,
like-
okay.
Homo means man or human in Latin.
Okay.
So it just means it can just mean man in Latin.
If you say so.
I tell you what, guys, at this point, because it is getting late and I have to be up early, we're going to call the scene. You will all have a lovely time. Brett, you will be asked to speak at the symposium in terms of how animal and human interactions have changed over the last X number of 100 years. You give a fabulously boring speech.
I'm sure there are people that are actually snoring during it.
Talk over there.
All right, so thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another Scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening.